Every story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. In a major story, air traffic controllers at the Lagos Muhammadu Murtala Airport delayed passengers for 6 hours over industrial action. House of Representatives raise alarm over xenophobic attacks in South Africa, demands recall of Nigerian High Commissioner. Federal High Court in Abuja orders against House of Assembly Speaker Adewale and the Chief Judge of the State, Justice Adeodeji Daramola, to appear before it April 29. Outside Nigeria, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu blames the United States and its allies for the conflict in Ukraine. We'll begin tonight in Lagos, where air traffic controllers across the country on Thursday shut down the nation's airspace for several hours to draw the attention of the authorities to poor air navigation equipment. The warning strike, according to members of the workers' union, is a prelude to a total shutdown with effect from Monday, April 20. In Abuja, there was no outward domestic flight throughout the morning, but international flights were allowed to land and take off. Correspondent Basi Aye reports.
This is the departure lounge at the local wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, where passengers have been stranded for several hours. The reason being that air traffic controllers embarked on a warning strike for over 6 hours. The action took these passengers unawares. Many of them got to the airport as early as 6:30 a.m., but as at 2 p.m., they have yet to board their flights. A few got so tired and had to doze off. Others, having nothing to sit on, chose to stand. But this woman is more comfortable on the floor. Efforts to get appropriate authorities to throw light on the situation proved abortive. But some passengers who spoke on camera complained of neglect by their airline operators and airport officials, as well as lack of timely information on the cause of the delay. 6:30 a.m. I've been here. The most annoying part of it is that they refuse to tell us what's on board. Had even they told us what happened, we would have just a kind of find an alternative. Nobody told us what that they're on strike or whatever. They are busy collecting people's money, and they kept us here up to this time. Nothing, no apologies. They never came to us and tell us what happened.
My flight was for 9 o'clock. I got here before 8, so that I can be checked in before an hour before my departure. And unfortunately, nobody said anything until it was past 9. Then they announced that they moved the flight to 11 o'clock due to technical reasons. Now, nobody was telling us that there was a strike. It took agitation and a bit of anger from us before we begin to hear bits and pieces that, look, there is a strike by the ATC, that is the air traffic controllers, and then that is why this has happened. Now, my annoyance is this: if ATC were going on strike, I thought there should have been prior information to the airlines, and the airline should have let us know so that if you want to reschedule your journey or maybe take other alternative means, you will do that. Nobody is saying anything. As I'm talking to you till now, most passengers still have not been spoken to by their airlines, and it is very annoying. No sorry, nobody is offering us water. Now, assuming I had a 9 o'clock flight, I get here 9:30, I will have to pay extra money to get into the next flight. Now these guys have kept me here for almost 6-7 hours. Nobody has offered me a bottle of water.
After waiting for so long, some are asking for their money back.
My decision now, I'm going to the airline office to find out what's happening. Maybe I want to reschedule my journey, maybe I want to, whatever, I'll just go find out first.
Just few minutes we came to check in. Some people have been checked in. Some are standing there with, what do you call that check-in something? Paper. The boarding pass. Some are standing there with boarding pass. I'm trying to see if Dana they are still booking.
Which airline is this one?
Aero. So I'm going to Dana now.
It's now a few hours that the warning strike was called off, and passengers could now begin to board their flights. But in the light of the occurrences of the air traffic controllers' action, these Nigerians can only hope that steps are taken by those concerned to forestall future occurrences. Basia Ye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The House of Representatives wants the federal government to recall the Nigerian High Commissioner from South Africa over the recent spate of attacks on Nigerians and other foreign nationals in that country. The resolution by the lower chamber is on the basis of a motion tagged xenophobic attack on Africans in South Africa and sponsored by Representative Abike Dabiri Erewa. The lawmakers blamed the latest attacks on Zulu King Goodwill Zwelithini and urged South African President Jacob Zuma to launch an investigation.
Nigeria should ensure adequate the diplomatic principle of reciprocity should be applied. If South Africa continues to frustrate our people in their country, Nigeria must do the same. If South Africa save Nigeria. Nigeria should ensure adequate funding of its missions, especially the hostile countries like South Africa. And the President of the African Union, Mrs. Zuma, who happens to be a South African, must effectively and decisively intervene in this cruelty meted out to fellow blacks by South Africans to find a long-term solution to this problem and to ensure that killing of fellow blacks.
And following the xenophobic attack in South Africa, a group under the aegis of Concerned Nigerians have taken to the street in protest for the term as men's inhumanity to men in South Africa. The group has called on the South African government to intervene quickly. Our correspondent Browson Owana was there and found in the support.
Xenophobia is an unreasonable fear of hatred of foreigners or strangers. This is the true situation in South Africa, where foreigners, especially Africans, have been attacked over the allegations of foreigners taking over their jobs, businesses, and even their social life, an act which the group condemned.
The situation in South Africa is appalling. It is gruesome. It is barbaric. It is man inhumanity to man, and we condemn it in the strongest terms.
I'm blaming the South African government for this. If everything are in place for them, and if you provide job for them, you give them basic, you give them proper, you enlighten them, you orient them, you let them be well educated so that they can also have those things they are fighting other black Africans for.
One of the major problems that South Africa needs to know is that nobody is responsible for another man's problem. Every country has its shortcoming, has its limitation. Nigeria has been living with our problem for the past 16 years. And now that we have succeeded in having another election, we are hopeful. So we should not be blaming other people for what is happening to us. What I think is happening in South Africa is for South Africans trying to shift blame of unemployment, of bad government, of poverty on other African brothers that are there.
After much chant at the South African Embassy in Lagos, the first secretary political at the embassy, George Nasegnani, finally came out to receive the memorandum from the group, promising to take the matters to appropriate authority.
I stand before you first as an African, secondly as South African. And as the embassy, we are deeply concerned with what is happening in South Africa, and surely this memorandum we are going to relay to our authorities in South Africa. Thank you very much, and we are very sorry with what is happening in South Africa.
The group, however, called on the Nigerian government to act fast in rescue of its citizens.
I will send a plane to South Africa and tell Nigerians who want to leave to come now. The ante should be lifted. It should be. I will tell you I'll do that. But I'm not the president. At this time, the Nigerian president should write a very, very good worded letter to Jacob Zuma.
I think the federal government of Nigeria should take the bull by the horns, reach out to the South African government and condemn in strong terms the killing of Nigerians and other nationals in South Africa. We both fought for the benefits they're enjoying in South Africa today. The apartheid, we were part of it. Other African countries were part of it.
Stop xenophobia in South Africa. Stop xenophobia in South Africa.
Brownson Owana, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Meanwhile, South African President Jacob Zuma has condemned the current outbreak of xenophobic attack in his country, describing it as shocking and unacceptable. He made this condemnation while appearing before Parliament. He insists the attack violates all South African values. In a speech, he recalled the help South Africans received as refugees, alluding to the fact that others have helped in boosting the country's economy to what it is today. He, however, appeals for calm and end to the violence in the country, as he assures other African countries of safety while commiserating the families of the deceased and injured.
And the looting of their shops. We condemn the violence in the strongest possible terms. The attacks violate all the values that South Africa embodies, especially the respect for human life, human rights, human dignity, and Ubuntu. Our country stands firmly against all intolerances such as racism, xenophobia, homophobia, and sexism. We appeal for calm, an end to the violence and restraint of violent actions. Criminal elements should not be allowed to take advantage of the concerns of citizens to sow mayhem and destruction. Any problems or issues of concern to South African citizens must be resolved peacefully and through dialogue. The police have been directed to work round the clock to protect both foreign nationals and citizens, and to arrest looters and those committing acts of violence. We extend our condolences to the families of all who have lost their lives and wish the injured a speedy recovery. We appeal for calm, an end to the violence and restraint of violent actions. Criminal elements should not be allowed to take advantage of the concerns of citizens to sow mayhem and destruction.
Back at home, the federal government insists that no Nigerian has so far been affected by the latest xenophobic attacks in South Africa. It, however, noted that it was prepared to evacuate members of the Nigerian community if the situation worsens. Foreign Affairs Minister Aminu Wali told State House correspondents in Abuja that the Nigerians have been told to close their shops and stay home.
then to take action that will forestall any further disturbance in South Africa.
The fact that this is the second time this is happening, are you not being reactionary?
We are not being reactionary because, you see, this is happening to all foreigners, not Nigerians alone, all foreigners. Some have taken this wait-and-see attitude like we have taken. And, of course, we are monitoring wherever Nigerians are in South Africa, we are monitoring the situation and the status. So we cannot all of a sudden decide to move them out so long as there is no particular threat to Nigerians being singled out. So as far as we are concerned, we are monitoring the situation and we will now take action according to the situation that develops in South Africa.
You're on to CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take a break now and we're back with more stars. Don't go away. Welcome back. A federal high court in Abuja has made a fresh order directing the Speaker, Ekiti's House of Assembly, Adewale Omire, and the Chief Judge of the State, Justice Ayodeji Daramola, to appear before it on April the 29th. They're expected to show cause why the order of interim injunction being sought by Governor Ayo Fayoshé should not be granted. Presiding Judge Justice Ahmad Mohammed had at the last sitting asked the defendants to appear before him, but the counsel said they were not in court due to the plaintiff's failure to properly serve the notice on them. Basil Okafu has more on this report presented from our studios.
It is less than 6 weeks to the end of the tenure of state legislators in Ekiti. But 19 of them, elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, are eager to impeach the governor. In a bid to thwart the move, Fayoshé approached the Federal High Court in Abuja to stop the lawmakers from removing him from office. At the resumed hearing on the matter, the plaintiff counsel, Ahmed Raji, lamented that after serving the defendants through newspaper publications, none of them showed up in court. The defense counsel, Teve Vembe, however, claimed that there was no service of court papers on his clients. In a short ruling, Justice Mohammed held that the service was done on a day Nigeria had governorship and State House of Assembly elections. He argued that the day was deemed to be public holiday and therefore made a fresh order for defendants to appear in the next adjourned date.
What we've been telling the court is that if the court said we should come here and show cause in 3 days, if you go by the Interpretation Act and the rules of this honorable court, we have 3 days up to tomorrow, and that is what the court had to show cause. We were ready to show and explain to the court orally why the court cannot, but the court in wisdom insisted that this should be written and filed. And so we said, okay, allow us at least the minimum of 3 days provided for by the law, and then we'll come back and file. So all along, that is where we have been. And importantly, counsel also, for the plaintiff, sought an order to maintain status quo. And the court said no. If I have already said that defendant should come and show cause, and there is no application setting it aside, there is no appeal against it, going to make an order for status quo will amount to overruling myself.
Attempts made by the plaintiff counsel for courts to order the parties to maintain status quo in the state, pending the determination of the suit, proved abortive.
The defendants were asked to come and show cause, and they were served. They were claiming that they needed more time, and then the court had to adjourn for them so that they could have full complements of their whatever.
But you also asked the court for an application to stay, proceed and to stay status quo.
Yeah, because the rule of law is that when parties have submitted a dispute to court, all parties are enjoined to keep the balance and maintain what they call status quo, so that no party does anything that will overreach or anticipate the judgment of the court. And that is just what we have asked the court to do. But it's like restating the law. It's not anything new. It is normal that once proceedings are pending, parties are enjoined to maintain the status quo, and then you should not do anything that would look like you are overreaching or trying to foist on the court if it accomplished.
The governor and his supporters can afford to wait while the legal battles continue.
The Senate is now demanding the original copy of the Constitutional Amendment Bill President Goodluck Jonathan decided against signing into law. This, it says, will enable members of the Constitution Review Committee take a decision on the president's stance. Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu said at Thursday's plenary that President Jonathan failed to return the copy that contained the signature, the signed pages. His position was backed by many senators who say they do not understand why the president withheld assent to a bill that cost the National Assembly time and money.
We slated to have 2-day retreat to consider the letter and advise the Senate appropriately. We noticed that second to the last paragraph, the state president said he was returning the bill with the letter. Unfortunately, the bill was not returned with the letter, and we could not proceed because we would like to see the returned bill. Now, the committee have asked me to raise this point to request Mr. President of the Senate to ask the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to send back the original copy of the bill as sent to him, especially the signature page, to enable us to proceed with our work. Especially so where he had indicated his own letter that the letter was accompanied with the bill. So we'd like to have the bill, and we'd like to have it in the original form, and emphasize in the original form, especially the signature page.
We didn't have to attach the result of the voting. The result is a public record. Our answers are public record, so anybody who wants to check can check because they're in the public domain. And if you witness the procedure, you would recall that voting was electronically done. And when you vote electronically, it registers not just your name, but also how you voted. So that can be checked. You know, so but we've gone past that. This has been a very, very tedious exercise that has spanned several months, if not years. If you recall, we had a retreat in Uyo, we had a retreat in Abuja, we had a retreat in Lagos, we had several public hearings in Abuja, in the various zones and the various states. So people had every opportunity to make their inputs. You know, we are a bit surprised.
Including the president?
The public at large. You know, so we're a bit surprised that these issues are coming up at this point.
President Goodluck Jonathan has been soliciting international support for the incoming administration of President-elect Muhammadu Buhari. He also wants Nigerians to do their best to help the incoming president succeed in leading the country to greater heights. At separate audiences with the new ambassadors of France, Senegal and Ethiopia, President Jonathan appealed for patience, understanding and cooperation from all stakeholders in Nigeria. In response to words of commendation and the concession of victory in the presidential elections by the new ambassadors, the president explained that he acted out of his conviction that the unity and progress of Nigeria must supersede all personal ambitions. Speaking with the new French ambassador, Denis Goa, President Jonathan urged France to extend the support and assistance it gave to his administration to the Buhari government. The ambassadors who were at the presidential villa to present their welcome speeches to Mr. President also celebrated the efforts of the nation in maintaining peace and order. You're watching CoreTV Primetime News. You can get more of our news on any of our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle is CoreTV News NG, and we're streaming live on YouTube. It's youtube.com/CoreTV and news. Former head of state Abdulsalami Abubakar has denied suggestions that he had been meeting President-elect Muhammadu Buhari on behalf of Petroleum Resources Minister Dazanin Alison Maduke. He described the report as mischievous and said his meeting with the minister had nothing to do with getting her a soft landing with the incoming administration. Retired General Abubakar, who is also chairman of the National Peace Committee, spoke with journalists at the Presidential Villa, Abuja.
Based on their records in the past
intervention in what way?
Can it be just coincidental that shortly after you entered, the Minister of Petroleum Resources also entered?
I wonder if you go through your records, the number of meetings that have been happening with her. I don't know why the last meeting I had with her would be a point of media chat or something.
Maybe that's why the speculation.
This is not the first time I have been meeting her, and quite a number of ministers do come and see me. So I don't see what the whole hullabaloo is all about. Some people are just being mischievous.
Lagos Resident Electoral Commissioner Akin Orebiyi has presented returning certificates to winners of the various political positions at the 2015 general elections. Patience Ajiboye was at the Archbishop Vinen Memorial Hall in Lagos, venue of the occasion, and filed in this report.
With the wrap-up of 2015 elections, the Lagos State Resident Electoral Commissioner has accordingly presented returning certificates to all winners of the 2015 polls in the state. In his address, Lagos Rec Akin Orebiyi advised all aggrieved candidates to seek redress in court as he charged the incoming administrators to ensure that service is their watchword to those who have voted them in.
So it is important for the new administration coming in to cater for all, regardless of whether they voted for them or not, regardless of whether they are whatever part of the state or whatever part of the country they are from. Service to all should be the key guide in this time.
In the conventional 1-minute silence for those who lost their lives during elections, Orebiyi says it is high time Nigerians resist political violence in all its forms.
To all those who lost their lives, I think this gathering should rise to give a minute silence of tribute.
The presentation of the return tickets, however, took a dramatic twist when supporters of APC and the PDP booed each other whenever winners who emerged from the parties were given their certificates. As the winning candidates celebrate, the electorate deserve the unwavering service of the incoming leaders. Patience Ajiboye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The National Resident Electoral Commissioner in charge of Oyo, Ogun, and Ekiti State, Lai Olurode, has charged politicians to stay clear of electoral crime, especially during election. He expressed the satisfaction during the just concluded general elections, describing electoral violence as a major threat to the enhanced electoral reforms and survival of democracy. He was speaking at the handing over of the Certificate of Return to Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosun and others. Olajumoke Olatunji was there and fought in this report.
The Cultural Center, Kuto Abeokuta, was filled to the brim with the presence of royal fathers, politicians, military personnel and residents of Ogun State who came to witness the re-elected governor of Ogun State, Ibikunle Amosun, the 3 senators representing Ogun Central, Ogun East and Ogun West senatorial districts, and the 9 members of the House of Representatives. Not carried away by the occasion, the National Commissioner Lai Olurode in his opening speech expressed the satisfaction at the just concluded general elections. He further advised the incoming government, both at the state and federal level, to perpetrate politicians who involved in electoral crime.
Election is not warlike. If you cast your mind back at the Saturday election in some part of the country, election became a battleground. The Commission is going to make sure that those who perpetrated one form of crime or the other, who behaved fraudulently during the election, they will be brought to book. The stars, those who perpetrate, who are electoral fraudsters, the notables among them have hardly been brought to book. And I will urge the incoming government to make examples of some prominent election fraudsters. As we look towards 2019, we hope there will be constitutional amendment so that Nigerians in the diaspora, Nigerians who are on election duty, ad hoc staff, youth corps, if you count all of them, there will be close to 2 million Nigerians who are denied the opportunity of exercising their franchise on an election day.
He further reiterated on the threat to Nigeria's electoral reform and the survival of democracy.
The first one, which is key to us, we are bothered about it, is the role of political parties and political elites. Nothing, I believe, from our own understanding and study, nothing has changed about the do-or-die attitude to politics in this country. The desperation is just too much to capture power at all costs, without any regard to procedure, without any regard to rule. The challenge of election administration in this country is that there are so many volunteers, people who have never contributed anything, yet they go out on an election day, they want to win elections. And once elections are not won by them, then INEC become their passion. Nobody should be above the laws of the political parties that are put in place. Without political parties, in this country, we are yet to have independent candidature. Until we do that, we must continue to enhance political party as an institution.
For his remark, the re-elected governor appreciated the people of Ogun State for trusting him again with their votes.
Confess to you, we will work for those that voted for us, we will work for those that didn't vote for us, indeed we will work for those that did not even vote at all. We will work for everybody, because this is a state.
Afterwards, he went further by appreciating the civil service for voting him despite all that has happened between them. Olajumoke Olatuji, CoreTV News, Abeokuta.
And now to Oyo State, where reactions have continued to trail the withdrawal of the transformer gifted to residents of Sabo community in Ibadan by the PDP governorship candidate Slim Folarin, 24 hours after the day of the election. The act is, however, faced with allegations and counter-allegations as to what led to the incident. Amatayo Alo has details.
The controversial transformer episode in Sabo community has not stopped generating reactions from residents who frowned at the act of uninstalling something that was already given out to the community. Residents blamed the candidate for political recklessness and selfishness, describing him as an untruthful and power-hungry candidate. But Slim Folarin, who reacted to the allegation on social media, says he never gave any instruction to retrieve the transformer he gave to the community, even though he was poorly voted for in the vicinity. More so, a stalwart from Folarin's party in the community, Mukhtar Abdul Inka, says the act was carried out by one of the closest aide of the candidates within the community and was not sure if Folarin was informed before the act took place.
His members that took the transformer, you should blame them, his members, because there is winner, there is loser. If he exercises a patient one day, if God said that he will become a governor in this Oyo State, he will become. Because there is no permanent enemy in politics, no permanent prince. And again, there is no opportunity without opposition.
According to the community leader, the retrieval of the transformer made a lot of youth angry that even after an hour when instructions came for the transformer to be reinstalled, it was a joint agreement from members of the community to reject it.
The transformer does not belong to me. It does not belong to the outside community only. It does not belong to Yoruba or any ethnic group. It belongs solely to God Almighty, because we started it at the Sabo Central Mosque, not for the outside community. So the transformer meant that it wanted to serve God Almighty, not me, not any of my aide. So it was donated to God and it was taken away from God.
Meanwhile, the incumbent governor who won the governorship election in the state, on hearing the incident, donated 2 new transformers that are bigger than the one earlier donated. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Ibadan.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has presented a certificate of return to Kano State Governor and Senator-elect Rabiu Kwankwaso, as Deputy Governor Abdullahi Ganduje, who is now Governor-elect, and other newly elected political office holders in the state. The brief ceremony took place at the Center for Democratic Studies in Kano. Speaking at the occasion, the Resident Electoral Commission Commissioner Hussein Pai expressed gratitude to residents of the state for their support after the death of his predecessor in a fire incident. A 1-minute silence was also held in honor of the late Mukaila Abdullahi.
Kano
worked tirelessly for this victory. You withstand the scorching heat of Kano and the dust of the Hamatan to canvass and vote for the APC. I consider your support as a mark of recognition and gratitude to the good work and landmark achievements of the APC government in the state, led by our leader, the supreme commander of the Konkusia movement of Nigeria, Engineer Dr. Abiy Musa Konkuso.
Reasons why we are here. One, it is to confirm and approve and provide evidence to the recipients and the general public as to who the winners of the general elections are in line with the law. Two, it is to congratulate the winners of the elections and wish them Allah's guidance in the task of governing the state and the country as a whole. Three, it is to commend the good losers of the elections for their sportsmanship.
As the newly elected public officers prepare to get into the saddle, Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola says his administration will continue to deliver democracy dividends to residents. Fashola made the assertion at the commissioning of 2-kilometer-long Wamco Road in Ogwa area of Ifako-Ijaye local government and inspection of other ongoing projects in the Lagos metropolis. Abiola Oluwole has more in this report presented from our studio.
After 2 years of construction, Wamco Road is finally ready to be commissioned as the outgoing Lagos State Governor Fashola hands over the road. At the ceremony, Fashola says the road is a proof of the APC keeping its promise of development in every state. He, however, cautions road users against misuse of government facilities.
It is not the road that we should fear now. It is the road users. We must control our urge to overspeed. The road traffic law is still in force. People who drive heavy-duty trucks, especially trucks that deliver raw materials and move finished products into the factories and industries around this neighborhood, must have respect for other road users. Heavy speeding by the trucks, I hope all of the companies that are here will take responsibility, meet, and talk to all their drivers. They owe a duty of care to other road users.
Fashola also inspected the regeneration of old Apapa amusement park.
We don't abandon what we have. We can build many more of these. But it was first to make a statement that the old Apapa amusement park can come back before we now begin to go to the Lekki Park or the Ido Park or the Alimosho Park or the Amu Ward of a Park or even the Ajegule Park. It's to demonstrate that we can fix things. Now, so we are now at the old amusement park in Apapa coming back to life because we dare to believe, we dare to commit, and we dare to work hard.
The governor also visited Ilubiri and Badia housing estates.
A break now, and we'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical, women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
On Business Tonight, the Consumer Price Index for the month of March 2014 has been released. The index shows that inflation rate had risen by 8.5%. Now, this is made known by the National Bureau of Statistics on Thursday. The Bureau noted that the March increase in CPI was a marginal increase of 100 basis points from the 8.4 which makes it the fourth consecutive month that the index will be moving in an upward direction. Increase in food prices held firm for the second consecutive month by 9.4%. The pace of increases, it explained, was weighed upon by a slower increase in the bread and cereals, oils and fats, dairy and confectionery groups. The urban index increased by 8.6%, while the rural index increased to 8.4% in March. On a month-to-month basis, the highest price increases were recorded in the fruit, fish, potatoes, yam, and other tubers and vegetable groups. Now let's join Sabina Izoko for today's stock market report.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
Hello there and welcome to the Stock Market Report segment with me, Sabina Izuku. The equities market on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today as Nigerian All-Shares Index depreciated by 0.38% to close at 34,832.62 basis points. The market capitalization declined to close at 11.86 trillion naira. In all, a total volume of 719.7 million units of shares valued at 3.8 billion naira were exchanged in 4,494 deals. On the gainer side, Guinness topped the charts, followed by Mobil, Oil, United Africa Company of Nigeria, Eco Transnational Incorporation, and Union Bank of Nigeria. And on the flip side, Nigerian Breweries topped the charts, followed by Supplet Oil, Corn Oil, West African Production Company, and Dangote Cement. Meanwhile, Standard Alliance Assurance topped the charts, followed by United Bank for Africa, Transcorp, Mansard Insurance, and Guarantee Trust Bank. Just before we wrap up the stock market report, here's the currency trade for today. I am Savannah Isoko.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
Browsing the one I standard by for updates in the world of sport.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball storming, we all with a flying lead.
Ball taking them out in the lead
Join us on our sport news tonight. I am Brownson Wanan. The under-23 national team, known as the Dream Team 5, will go on break on Friday, 17th of April. Samson Siasia Ward, who recently booked a spot at the men's football tournament of this year's All-African game, will resume on May 25th. Addressing the players and officials, the head coach, Samson Siasia, advised the players not to see their qualification for the All-African Games as the ultimate, but to see it as a wake-up call to work harder and qualify for the Olympic taking place in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil next year. He disclosed that Nigerians will also accept them as true heroes if they qualify for both games, as the nation has not qualified for the football event of these games at the same time for a very long time. And away from now to the world of boxing, where Manny Pacquiao says the timing is right for his long-awaited fight with American Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather, 38, and Pacquiao, 36, are considered two of the best fighters of their generation, and the bout on 2nd of May is set to generate about £162 million. The contest has been more than 5 years in the making, and critics have said the pair have left it too late. Pacquiao's WBO belt and Mayweather's WBC and WBA welterweight title will be on the line at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Finally, on our sport news tonight, in the world of tennis, world number 2 Roger Federer and defending champion Stanislav Wawrinka both suffered third-round defeat at the Monte Carlo Masters. World number 9 Wawrinka, the 2014 Australian Open champions, beat fellow Swiss Federer last year in his first and only Masters 1000 title. But he lost 6-1, 6-2 to Bulgarian world number 11 Dimitrov in 54 minutes. Second seed Federer was beaten 6-4, 7-6, 7-5 by Frenchman Guillermo Fields, the world number 18, and 14th seed. And that's all we can take on our sport news tonight. Very big thanks for watching. I am Brownson Owana.
Outside Nigerian, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu on Thursday blamed the United States and its allies for the conflict in Ukraine, saying the drive to bring Kiev closer to the West was a threat to Moscow and had forced it to react. Speaking at an annual security conference, Shoigu accused Washington of seeking worldwide military and political dominance. He reiterated Moscow's line that the West orchestrates color revolutions to unseat rulers it dislikes. Russia annexed the Crimean Peninsula from Ukraine last March, and separatist unrest then spread to eastern Russian-speaking regions of the country. And that's a wrap on CoreTV Primetime News tonight. On behalf of the production crew, I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Thank you for watching.